All right. Once again, good afternoon and welcome to our Business Tips and Tricks with LinkedIn class series. Today's class is Company Pages and it will be hosted by myself, Jamie, with the Plano Public Library, and my colleague, Una, who will be assisting us with chat. Before we begin, I do need to let you know about some ground rules that we've set up for today's program. You will be muted during the class and we have your video blocked, so you will only see the instructor's screen. At the top of your screen, you can find an exit full screen option if you do need to get to other things on your computer during the class, including your LinkedIn profile. You are welcome to ask questions or request that the instructor repeat information at any time during today's program. You should see an icon at the bottom of your screen that says chat, and if you click on that, you'll open up the chat window. If you prefer, you may also use the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen to ask questions. Please note that any inappropriate questions or comments will cause your immediate removal from today's class. For any questions that we do receive, we may answer you directly in that chat or Q&A box, hold the question until a break or the end of the class, or go ahead and ask the question at the time if it is pressing. On our website, you can also find a link for a handout to accompany today's class. And we'll also go ahead and share the link for that handout in the chat for you as well. A recording of today's class will be available in a few days, so if you would like to just watch today and then practice with the recording later, that is also an option for you. And finally, if you'd like to follow along using your own LinkedIn account during today's class, you may, but please keep in mind that it will be difficult for us to give one-on-one assistance or troubleshoot specific issues with your profile. I will try to take it slow just in case you're doing things alongside me. Now, as we get started today, I do need to remind you that I'm a librarian and not a business expert. So the information I'm sharing with you today is designed to be an overview and to help connect you with additional resources that may be helpful in building and promoting your own business and services. This program series does have several parts, and while each class stands on its own, some content will build on concepts or ideas from the previous week. If you were with us last week, our class covered building your profile and service page. And today's class will focus on creating a company page for your business. The remaining classes in the series will focus on networking and job postings, content creation for businesses, and also strategy and resources. We have 4 main objectives for today's class. First, we're going to explore the basic features of a company page. We'll be looking at the key components that will display to other LinkedIn users using some existing company pages as an example. Next, we'll review the requirements to establish a company page. And we're going to talk about LinkedIn's general guidelines and the key questions that you should answer as you get started so that you'll have all the information that you have at hand to build that company page. Then we'll demonstrate how to add elements to your company page and walk through the basics of setting up that page for others to be able to view and interact with you. And finally, we'll discuss strategies to expand your reach once you've established your company page. We'll look at some ways to increase visibility of your page and touch briefly on content creation options, which will be covered in more detail in later classes in this series. With that in mind, let's go ahead and dive right in. So, what is a company page? LinkedIn company pages are a dedicated space for companies, organizations, and institutions to showcase their work. In addition to increasing visibility of your business, they also make it 4 times more likely for you to get views on your personal profile. Once you have created your company page, you and any employees you may have can link to that page in your relevant work experience entries. Your company page is basically a mini website hosted through LinkedIn. As with your personal profile, keywords are used to include your page in relevant search results on LinkedIn. In addition, your company page may be visible in Google search results. Because LinkedIn is a highly credible business networking site, it can help establish your ranking with Google. Keep in mind, it will take time for you to establish a robust presence on LinkedIn and see these types of results. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Your company page is a forum to share product updates, service announcements, job postings, and more related to your business. Interested users can follow your company page to get your updates in their newsfeed. And this is a way for you to share updates about your company outside of your personal profile. Your personal profile established the story of the person behind the business. It was all about you. Today, we're talking about your company page, which is going to let you tell the story of your business. So let's look at the City of Plano's company page as an example of what a completed company page might look like. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and switch over to LinkedIn so that we can take a look at what that company page looks like. So give me just a second to get signed in. Get those pop-ups out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull up the City of Plano. Now, the City of Plano company page is going to look a little bit different for me because I am a member of the City of Plano organization. So we will talk about some information that displays only if you are directly affiliated with a company. But let's start out with just the basics. Underneath our logo and city information, you should see the Home tab. The Home tab of a company page gives you a snapshot of the company, like your newsfeed. You'll see information about the company, people highlights, and previews of recent posts. So if I scroll down a little bit, you can see there's more about the company. I can see recently posted videos, people highlights, and other things that they have shared. At the very top of the page, you will have an option to interact with the company. You can choose to follow the company or not. So you'll see here, mine shows that I'm following. If it just says follow for you, you would click on that to go ahead and follow the company if you were interested, as well as options to visit the company's website or to share the page. I can invite others to interact with it, or if I go under more, you can see the link to visit the website, send in a message, request admin access if I was affiliated with that company, and things like that. If it is a company that you're currently associated with, that's when you're going to see the option to invite your connections to follow the page. That's when that blue invite button will show up for you. The next tab is the My Company tab, and this is only going to display if you're currently employed by that company. This page will give you insights as a member of the organization, and you can invite others to follow the page, see updates to the members of the company, and view trending content from others who work for the same organization. So you can see, I can scroll through and see who my coworkers might be, content that they are sharing, and things like that. The next tab that we have is the About tab. And we'll scroll back up to the top for that. The About tab shows overview information about the company. You can see the description provided as well as any details like the website, phone number, industry, company size, and more. You can also view locations for the company and get directions. So I can scroll through and see in the overview information that the city has provided. I can easily link to the website, a contact phone number, industry information, where they're located. There's a nice map that provides information about the corporate office, things like that. The next tab that we have is going to be the Posts tab. And this is essentially the company's news feed. You can see company updates and information shared and filter that content by type to get information more easily. Just like the content that you see in your personal news feed, you can react, comment, and share posts found here. So you'll see, I can easily say, I only want to see images that have been shared, or I want to see if they've posted any videos. I can go through that content or just say, I want to see everything. When I scroll down to specific posts, then you'll see the options for reacting, for commenting, reposting, and sending. A company page can also include the Jobs tab. And the Jobs tab will let you see the company's current job openings. So you can search the available openings with a keyword search box or just browse recently posted jobs. Choosing the option to view all jobs will redirect you to the job search page on LinkedIn with a filter applied for the particular company. So you can see right now, City of Plano has 184 different job openings. I can see the most recently posted jobs, including Library Program Assistant Manager, or I can do see all jobs. If I was interested in this job, I can click on it to get right to the job description and apply as needed. And then finally, we're going to talk about the People tab. And this tab lets you know about the company's current employees. It's great if you're doing company research and trying to figure out a little bit more about them. You can see some basic demographic information, like where they live, where they studied, as well as people you potentially know and may wish to connect with. You can look at the different people and easily choose to connect. Oh, I know this coworker. I'd like them to be part of my network. Now we're going to pop back over to our slideshow for just a moment, and we're going to talk about the requirements for creating a company page. There are several requirements that you need to meet in order to create a company page. Unlike your profile, until you fulfill these specific eligibility requirements, you won't have access to the company page option. So if today, while we're going through the content, you don't see the option to create company pages from your profile, go ahead and double check to make sure that all of these criteria have been met. First, your profile needs to be in good standing with LinkedIn. Essentially, this means that you have an accurate first and last name attached to your profile, so you exist as a person, and you meet all the community standards. You haven't been blocked for inappropriate content, you haven't been flagged as suspicious activity, things like that. Your profile also needs to have been active for at least 1 week before you can create a company page. Second, your profile needs to have a profile strength rating of intermediate or higher. The profile strength meter is a measure of how robust your profile is. To see that, you can open up your profile and look for the suggested section below your introduction. This box will show your current profile level and prompts you to improve your profile strength. Now, if you open up your profile and you don't see any suggestions listed, that means your profile is at an all-star rating and there's nothing else that you can do in the eyes of LinkedIn to improve it. Third, you need to have multiple connections associated with your profile. The tricky part here is that LinkedIn doesn't give you a specific number of connections, but the more connections you have, the stronger your profile will be. These connections will also be your first opportunity to gain momentum with your company page, so it's important to take time to develop your network. Finally, be sure that you have the time and support to create and maintain your page. In addition to that initial time investment that you'll spend creating your page, you're also going to need to spend time creating and updating your content, as well as reviewing and responding to comments from other LinkedIn users. If possible, it is a good idea to have at least 2 administrators assigned to your company page. I do recognize that this is not possible for everyone starting out, and if you're a small business or solo partner in something, it may be just you. So be mindful of how much time you'll need to take care of the administrative business of your page. If you have multiple access points to your content, it's a little bit easier to help distribute the weight. As your company grows, you may need to assign more people to this role. It's not uncommon for larger companies to have an admin responsible for each specific section or type of content on their page. Do we have any questions about company pages so far?
At this moment, we have no questions.
All right, then let's go ahead and move into the actual process of creating our company page. Before you start building your company page, you want to be sure that you know what your brand is and the message that you want to convey. This message will be part of all elements of building your company page, from writing your description to ultimately creating content. As you think about these questions, you can gather ideas, resources, and information that may help you build your page. So, here are just a couple of key thoughts to get started. First, what is your vision? Think about the future that you want to create with your company. What words or phrases might describe it? Your vision is an aspirational statement of where you hope to go. Next, think about your mission. Think about the specific, concrete steps that you will take to make that aspirational vision an actual reality. This is where you can help explain to your followers how the work that you do today can help create the future that you described in that vision. What are your values? Your values help your clients understand the things that guide you and your decision-making process. They're the things that are most important to you. In addition to being clearly stated as part of your vision and mission statements, your values should be apparent and interwoven in your content and business dealings as well. Think about how your company is positioned within the industry. As a business owner, you likely know who your key competitors are and what similar services are available to clients. As you think about this question, think about the things that make your company or your brand different. What makes you stand out? And finally, identify your key products and services. Now, this question might seem obvious, but you want your company page to clearly tell others about your core product or service offerings. In addition to making it easy to connect with you, your company page should make it easy to see what products and services you offer. Now that you have some ideas in mind about describing your company, let's look at the process to create a company page. I'm going to go back over to LinkedIn for this. And we will go ahead and dive in. Now, to get to the company page option, what you're going to do is look for the 9-grid work icon in the upper right corner of your screen. When you click on that, if company pages are available for you, when you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you should see an option to create a company page. And you will choose that from your menu. And this is going to open up a new screen for you. And this is where you will choose your page type. You'll need to establish a company page before you can create any showcase pages. Most likely, you won't be using that educational institution unless you're creating something on behalf of a school or university. So let's just assume I'm a company. This page is where I would start entering details about my company. So in the name box, I'm going to put in my organization name. And I might see that this is already in use. So I could change either the name of my organization, or if that URL is already in use, I might have to customize the URL to be unique to my business. So say I have sample organization that's already in use, I might add sample organization PPL to represent the Plano Library. I can also insert information like my website, my industry, my organization size, my logo, and my tagline. When you enter your company's website, that will link to your existing web presence. If you don't have one yet, it is okay. You can go in and link to your personal LinkedIn profile or a digital portfolio of your work instead until you get an actual established web page. So let's just say I'm going to use the Plano Library website for my website there. Then when I choose my industry, I need to select the industry that my company belongs to. And when I start typing, it should give me some options. I will have to choose something that LinkedIn gives me. If my option doesn't show up, I'll have to choose something else. Then you'll need to choose the appropriate range for the size of your company. It could be as small as 0 to 1 if it's just you, could be as big as 10,000 plus if you are part of a really large organization. So choose the one that best represents the size of your business currently. All of these things can be changed or edited as your business grows. You'll also want to go ahead and choose an organization type, which is a fancy way of saying, are you a public company, self-employed, nonprofit, government agency? This just helps filter the right type of user to your company. So let's say I'm a nonprofit. And then I would also have the option to upload a logo file and include a tagline. That logo would be the first step in building your brand. So if you've already created an image that you'd like associated with your company, you can go ahead and add that in. You would just click on Choose File to preview. This is not at all related to a business, but let's say this is the graphic I want to use. You'll see it gives me a little graphic to go with my company page, and you can change that out to your specific logo. And then that tagline is a brief line that describes your business and the work that you do. And you will see as we are doing this that you have that page preview on the right-hand side of your screen, and that lets you know what your company page is going to look like starting out. You can make any edits after previewing that information. And then the last thing that you will do is check the box to verify that you are authorized to create the company page. And then just hit that Create Page button to launch your page. Now I'm going to back up just a minute on this because I did create a sample company page to use for today's class. So instead of hitting Create Page on here, I'm going to go ahead and open up my sample company page instead. Once you've filled in the skeleton information, you will be able to add additional details to your company page. But before you can view the content suggestions, several details are needed, including adding your description and location information in. Much like with your personal profile, LinkedIn will keep suggesting items to complete in the box at the top of the page to build the strength of your company page. So let's look at some key elements to include as you launch your page. One option that you have is to add a cover image in addition to your company logo. Let me go ahead and do view as a member really quick for this so that you can see what this looks like. So for me, I've created a little logo that displays similar to what a profile picture would look like. And then this cover image is the longer image that spans the top of the page. Your cover image and logo combine to help build your brand. Keep in mind, pages with images are more visually appealing to users. They give people more of a reason to click through and see what you're offering. And in fact, adding images makes your page 6 times more likely to get a view from the average user. Your pictures can include images of the city you work in, your products or services, or even your workspace. This is an opportunity for you to include key information like your slogan, website, or contact information as well. So to add a company page in with a cover image, I would go to my company page. I'd scroll to where that cover image is, and I'd click on that tiny little pencil icon. And then you should see an option to either upload a cover image or choose a cover image to support a cause. If you upload your own image, that will let you access the editing tools to kind of crop and put that picture how you'd like. Or if you do choose a cover image that supports, you can see those existing covers that LinkedIn has created, and you can choose any one from there. Once you chose it, you would hit confirm, and that would apply the cover image to your profile as well. You'll click apply, that will add your image in, and that's all you need to do to add that cover image. So we have our company page, we've got our logo, we've got our cover image. The next thing we want to do is include a vibrant description. And this is what shows up in your About Us section. And this section gives LinkedIn users more detail about your business and what you do. It's an opportunity for you to answer the most common questions that people ask. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? It's also a chance for you to include relevant contact information to make it easy for potential clients to get in touch with you. As you write this section, describe your specialties clearly and precisely. This section is included in LinkedIn searches. So using keywords will help your page appear in search results. Be sure that you're authentic in what you're writing and your keywords attract the type of users who will benefit from your products or services. So when you've opened up your company page, you're going to click on this blue edit page button, and that's going to pull up the different sections that we're talking about here. Under About, you would choose Overview. And in the box that says Description, you'd go ahead and add your company description. Now, as you write that, keep in mind your About Us information may also appear in Google search results. The top lines of your text, up to 156 characters, may be included in a Google search preview, so you'll want to include your most impactful information first. Now let's go ahead and talk about linking your profiles to your personal page. Once your company page is created, you can link your own work experience to that page to make it easier for your connections to access your company from your profile. You can also ask your employees to do the same. Not only will this help build information about your employee demographics, but it will also encourage your employees to engage with company content. So let me go ahead and close out of this edit box and pop over to my page.
We have one question saying, do you suggest having a personal LinkedIn page as well as a company page if you are the only person in your company?
I would say absolutely, and that's going to be for two different reasons. First, you cannot have a company page without having your personal page. So having that personal page is required to be able to get to the company pages in the first place. Second, your company page is a little bit different from your personal page. Your personal page is talking about who you are as an individual and what you do. That company page really establishes what your business is. And as you build your business, it will give you opportunities to focus people specifically to that business and build that brand outside of just your name. And hopefully that answers the question for you. But if you have more questions, feel free to keep dropping them in that chat or Q&A, and we will continue to get to them. I'm going to go ahead and pop over to my profile really quick, where we're going to talk about linking that company page to our personal profile. When I scroll down to my experience section, there we go. I'm going to scroll. And for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and do a plus sign to add a new position. I'm going to enter my job title, which could be anything from business owner to CEO to head of operations to whatever role you play with that business. And you can select your employment type. Let's say I'm a full-time employee. And then in the box for company name, I'm going to enter my company name exactly as it appears on my existing company page. And when I start typing, what should happen is I should see my company page pop up. Now, if I don't type it exactly in there correctly, it may not. So double check, make sure that you have your company page appearing the way you want it to. You should see your logo that you've created appear to verify that it is a page you're linking to. You can go ahead and select that, add in all of the relevant information, start date, end date, description of your job, etc. Once you've added all the relevant details, you would click Save to add that position to your profile. And what will happen is, let me close out of this. It would look like my position with the city of Plano does currently. I'd see my own business logo, I would see that company page, and then when I clicked on that, it would link back to that company page. Now, if you already have added your position with your company on your page, you can edit your existing entry to make sure that it directly matches your company page information. So all you would do is go in and edit your existing entry. And if it wasn't linking correctly where it had the company name, I would go in, retype to reflect the company page, should see the logo pull up, save the changes, and that would add in our company page for it to link correctly. Your company page can also include some additional resources to help guide traffic to your website, put users in connection with a particular staff member or department, or generate signups for an event. And this is what is called a custom button. And this button will display in addition to your follow button on your company page. So let's talk about how to get back to our company pages that we've already created. If I click the home button here on LinkedIn, over on the left-hand side of my profile, I should now see any company page that I have created. I can click right on that page link to get back to my company page at any time and continue editing. So to create that custom button, I'm going to scroll back down to where that edit page button exists and continue working through some of these modules. So the buttons are going to show up for you under the header section. We'd choose buttons. And then we're going to slide this toggle to on to enable the custom button. That will give you the option to choose your button name, whether that's learn more, contact us, sign up, visit website, whatever works best for you. And then you'll put in the URL to link back to where you would like to go. Underneath, you will see a button preview that will let you know exactly what that button's going to look like on your page before you launch it, and then you should be able to click Save to apply the changes. So right now I have it as Learn More. Let's say I want to change it to Contact Us. You will see that shows I've got my follow, I've got to Contact Us. I can go ahead and save that change, or if I don't like that, just discard the edits to anything that I have existing. If you want others to know more about your company's workplace expectations, the Workplace module may be a helpful tool to add to your company page as well. It provides information about the type of work schedules you offer, and it may be useful to help attract potential employees. If you're not actively hiring right now, it may be easier for you to just leave this module disabled. Again, company pages are incredibly customizable, so you can turn things on and off as needed for your particular business. So within this edit page function that we're already in, under About, you should see a link for Workplace. And this is where I can turn the Workplace module on or off, again, with that toggle. I would choose my primary workspace policy, so whether that's an on-site, a hybrid, or a remote environment. I can describe my company's policies, anything related to expectations as far as coming into the office, working from home. You can also choose to include a link to that policy if available so that people can review it on their own. Add any information about typical time on site, whether that's flexible, days per week, percentage of time. You can also add up to 3 workplace benefits and choose whether or not to add other relevant policies such as location-based pay, or if your company happens to have a vaccination policy, those can be included as well. And you can click on Save to apply those changes, and that module will become live. So you will see on my homepage, because I have established that workplace module, you can see the type of workplace and the details. And if they wanted to see more, they can now click on See All Details to see more information about my workplace. And go back to the admin view. You can also add in locations. So we've told people about what we do. We've told them about how we do it if they want to come work for us, but now we need to tell them where we do it. To make it easier for people to find your business, you may want to include that location information. And this will allow your location or locations, if you have more than one, to display on a map on your homepage. You can include both locations with a physical address if you have an actual office building or work site that you would like to include, or you can choose those without. So just like before, it's going to be accessed through that edit page option. And under that menu, we will choose locations.
We have one question. If I have multiple businesses, should I create a company LinkedIn page for each?
Whether you create a company LinkedIn page for each will depend on how those businesses relate to each other. So if each business is its own business entity doing something completely different, then I would recommend a unique company page for each of them. So say I have one business where I write books, I have one business where I paint pictures, and I have one business where I bake cakes. Those are all very different things. So having a different company page for each one lets me focus on the specifics of those businesses. Now, if your individual businesses relate to each other, what may be more helpful for you is to create showcase pages, which we'll get to a little bit later in today's class. And basically what those do is create for you subgroups of your main company. So say I am a baker and I do cakes, I do cookies, and I do pies. I might just create one company page for that, but showcase pages to focus on the specific types of things that I'm baking within that larger umbrella. So jumping back into our locations. From that About menu, once I click on locations, you should see a lovely button there that says Add a Location. And what you will do is click on it to add in location information. You're going to enter all of the relevant details, your country or region. Here's where you'll put in your street address. If you don't have one, just click the box. My organization doesn't have a street address, and that will take that option off, and you can do it as a remote location. And you can choose to make a primary location. Once you've entered all the details, go ahead and click Save to apply. and you will see your locations listed. If you want to see what that looks like for someone viewing your page, you can use the View as a Member button to preview your page and visit that About page. You may need to allow a few minutes before those changes fully apply, so if you do it right away, you may not see those changes, but since mine have been on there, when I go under About now, and I scroll down past my overview information, you can see my locations listed, and I can browse on the map and see where they are in relation to each other and get directions as needed. Now, let's say that you would like to gather potential client contact information. The lead generation form may be a good option for your company page, which will allow you to collect and later download information about potential clients. So to get back to that, we'll just click on the View as Admin button to go back to our admin view and go back under that Edit Page option. And then look for the section that says Leads. And here you're going to see the Lead Gen form. You'll once again use the toggle to enable that feature. And then choose your call to action. CTA stands for call to action, or what you're asking people to do. So it may be contact sales, it may be get started, it may be start a free trial. You are limited to the options that LinkedIn puts in for you. So choose the best fit. And then if you have a privacy policy, you will link to that as well. Add a catchy headline so people know why they should push your button. And then body copy, which lets users know what to expect once they have submitted that form. You'll have a preview so you can see what people are going to see. I've told them if they want to learn more about library classes, click on that button to get started. Once you've got it how you'd like, once again, click Save to apply the changes. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about as far as content on your company page today is to look at content creation. And we aren't going to get into a lot of information about content creation today because we will cover that in a future class, but I do want to take just a minute to highlight some of the content creation options on your page. From the main news feed of your company page, when we scroll down underneath all these suggestions, it's going to look just like your newsfeed on your personal profile. You can see the same content creation options. And as with posts from your personal profile, other users will be able to respond, comment, and share your content. You would just click in that box that says Start a Post and create content. The most common types of content for companies to share are going to be things like company news, articles from your industry, personal content that you and your employees have written that demonstrates your expertise or thought leadership in your industry, polls or other questions for followers, or videos, photos, and links to relevant content. Now, before we move into analytics and showcase pages, do we have any questions about developing your company page?
At this point, we have no question.
All right, I'm going to very, very briefly cover analytics today. Once your company page has been established, those analytics offer several ways to measure your success. Your statistics can provide you with insights about when and by whom your page is viewed, as well as what types of content generate the most engagement. These page analytics are only visible to the page admin. Other users on LinkedIn can't see this information. There are 5 key areas of analytics that you can view on your company page. Those are going to include visitor demographics, which measure things like who is using your page that's not part of your followers. You can see likes and views from unique visitors and demographics about industry and location. This information is great to see how visitors are interacting with your page and focus on converting them from visitors into followers of your page. You also have access to follower analytics, which will measure demographic information about the people on LinkedIn who are actively following your page. Your leads will display data only if you've enabled that lead gen module on your page. You'll be able to see the number of leads and download their contact information, which gives you opportunities to share products and services and hopefully build your follower and client base.
We have one question saying, do you have a slide to show for analytics?
What I'm going to do in just a second is actually open up the analytics page on my company page here so you can see it in action. So let me go ahead and do that for you now. So from the top of my company page, I see jobs, I see content. I'm going to scroll over to analytics. And this is where we've got that visitors, followers, leads, content, competitors choice to choose from. And I'm just going to choose the one that I would like to view. So let's say I want to look at visitors. I can select my date range. Maybe I want to see the last year worth of information. I can see some highlights in that box. And I can use the different menus to see things like page views, unique visitors, and if I want to see if they've gone to all pages or maybe a specific page, like I want to see how many people have gone to my About page, I can filter those results. And I can do the same thing with all of the other available analytics. I can do that to see followers information, where again, I'll have a date range that I can choose from and see the different graphs associated and information available. And I can continue for things like leads and updates and competitors. The one that is going to look a little bit different will be leads, just because it's going to show the number of leads I have and if I have anyone after 90 days that I need to follow up with.
We have another question. Can similar analytics page be added to personal pages on LinkedIn?
With your personal page on LinkedIn, you will have access to some different analytics. And let me go ahead and pop over to my profile really quickly just to show you what that looks like. My analytics for my personal profile look a little bit different because I can see profile views, post impressions, and search appearances. So it's not quite the same as what you see with a company page, but I can get an idea of who's looking at my profile and how well people are engaging with my content. Now, the one thing to keep in mind with personal page analytics is some things are only available to users who subscribe to LinkedIn Premium. So if you want to see the specific names of people who are viewing your profile, you won't have access to that without paying as a personal user.
We have another question. Do you recommend to build up your followers to as many as possible or be select? I get lots of people wanting to connect with me, but don't want them to possibility contact my clients.
The short answer to your question is going to depend on your strategy for using LinkedIn. And we will cover that a lot more in our networking groups and job postings class next week. But you essentially have two ways of looking at your LinkedIn profile. You can choose to have a larger network where you connect with as many people as possible, which will make you more visible in search results and may increase your visibility to other users, but does run the risk of having a bunch of connections that you don't know as well and who may use their connection with you to connect to other users. An alternative is to create a more selective network, which may mean that you don't show up as often in search results or as highly ranked, when people are searching for a specific name or business, but does mean that you have more control over who's in your network and have more personal connections with those members. Now we are running a little bit short on time today, so I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead to showcase pages very briefly, but then I'll stay on after we get through that content in case you have additional questions that you would like answered. Now I mentioned showcase pages very briefly a little bit earlier, and showcase pages are something that give you an option to highlight specific information about your company. Showcase pages are unique, independent pages affiliated with a main company page that highlight your brands, business units, initiatives, or other information. And let me go ahead and pop back over to our slideshow real quick just to give you an example of that in person. And here in the image that I have, you can see that we've got Penguin Random House that has established a company page as a business, and then these affiliated pages on the side show its separate smaller publishers that are affiliated with the main whole. Just like a company page, your showcase page includes basic page information, a custom button, and overview information, but you can also add featured commitments to this page, outlining your commitments, programs you offer in support of it, and additional resources. Now, unlike that main company page, you can't associate employees with your showcase pages. So if I'm Penguin Random House, I can have employees be members of Penguin Random House, but I can't have them be members of that affiliated page of Viking Books. Your showcase page is then a forum for you to share updates specific to that particular brand or division that you're featuring. It allows you to target your marketing information, so it's particularly relevant to those following the page. And just like a company page, you'll have access to page analytics and content suggestions. If you'd like, you can compare the performance of your main company page with your showcase page in your analytics. And just like your original company page, those showcase pages do appear in LinkedIn search results and can be followed by users. I'm going to go ahead and pop back over to LinkedIn and show you real quick how we would create that showcase page. You have a couple of different options that you can do for that. The first one is you can go back to that 9-grid box that we talked about earlier, and under Create Company Page, you could then choose the showcase page option. However, you can also just do this straight from your existing company page. If I go ahead and open up my company page, I can look for my admin tools and create a company or a showcase page from here as well. I've got my admin tools up here in the top, and you'll see the option for create a showcase page. When I click on that box, it's going to be very, very similar to creating my original company page. I'm going to choose my associated organization, so my existing company page. I'm going to add in the information for my showcase page, add that unique URL, any associated website, industry, logo, tagline, etc. Same thing as I did before. I will have to go ahead and check that box that I am authorized to create content, and then I can preview and upload pages. Now, to give you an idea of what that looks like, on my company page, I went ahead and created a showcase page specifically for library classes. So here I have my main company page. Over here under affiliated pages, I've created that library classes page. And when I open that up, you can see it's specific content to classes that I may be offering. I've got my own posts and activity feed going through there. Just like your company page, that showcase page will include suggestions at the top for outlining additional content, and you can edit elements of the page at any time by going back up to the top and choosing Edit Page to open up those additional editing options. As with your company page, the more detail you include on your showcase page, the more likely other users are to find and engage with your content. I know I went through that pretty quickly, so do we have any questions about showcase pages before we wrap up with some final resources today?
We have no question.
All right, that does conclude today's class on company pages. Before we go, I would like to share just a few more resources with you that may be helpful. As a reminder, we have 3 more classes left in this program series: networking groups and job creation or job postings next week on March 22nd, content creation on March 29th, and strategy and resources on April 5th. The link that you used to register for today's class should give you access to the remaining classes in the series as well. If you're unable to attend any of the sessions, don't worry. A recording will be available on our YouTube channel a few days after that original program date. Now, if you happen to have a short question that you'd like library staff to answer, you may submit it online at any time using our Ask a Librarian service. A librarian will usually respond within 48 hours with the information that you need. If you'd like more one-on-one help from one of our librarians, about 30 minutes and the chance to go over your specific questions, whether that's related to navigating your LinkedIn profile, creating your own company page, or something else altogether, you can use our Book a Librarian request to set up a session with us. Each session is tailored to your specific needs and is compatible with your schedule. For many of the topics that we covered today, you can find additional tools and resources from the LinkedIn help pages. You can also access tutorials on LinkedIn Learning for more information, tips, and tricks, which is available for free with your Plano library card. And remember, a recording of today's class will be available in a few days on our PPL YouTube channel, and you can access that course handout online at any time as well. I have also included my contact information here on the last slide for you. If you come up with any questions outside of today's class, if you want to see any information from the slides or any further details, please feel free to reach out to me via email as well, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. We also have our Plano Library Speaks podcast, and in each episode, you'll learn about library resources and programs for the entire family, including business and career resources and little-known facts about the library, and you can get to know our staff a little bit better. Please do join us to listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Do we have any final questions before we wrap up today?
No question. Participants just thank you.
Well, I hope that today's information was helpful for you, and I look forward to joining you for the rest of this program series. As you exit the program today, please do take a minute to complete our program survey, which should pop up as you exit. We value your feedback, and that helps me know what type of classes are helpful to offer in the future for you as well. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next week.